Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk through how to create an application in our new Fondant software. And this is going to happen when a patient calls into the office asking for assistance in submitting their application over the phone, perhaps because they don't have access to a computer or need help doing it because they're not able to do it alone. So this is how you're going to help them. But I do want to point out a couple of things before you get started with the online or with the phone application is please let the patient know two things. One, it is extremely important that they have a valid email address. If they don't have a valid email address, you can ask them to create one and then call back, and then we can help them over the phone. Or if you want to take some time and help them over the phone, when you have them there, you're more than welcome to. You can go to, Google or Hotmail or Yahoo and set up for them, but they have to have a valid email address. And the reason for this is because every communication we do is going to be through email. And especially with submitting their bills, they have to have access to Foundant to do that. So that's the first thing. The second thing I do want to mention is that please remember to go through the details with the applicant since they're on the phone. They may not be able to see what you see. And so we just want to make sure that everything is clear to them so they know what they're agreeing to and what they're submitting at the end of the application. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing you'll do is you will go to the Create New Account button here and click that. From there, it will bring you to the Create New Account page, and here is where you're going to enter their basic information. So I'm going to make up a name. We'll just do Roadrunner. Feeling quick today. And so this is going to be a fake email address because obviously I'm creating a fake account. But as I mentioned before, it's critical they have a valid email address. So we'll just do roadrunner@fund.com. And here's the email here, roadrunner@com. And a phone number here. So you'll enter in all this information. Just putting in random numbers. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. I'm going to get into it. Looney Tune Road. Okay. These are required fields. This one is not. The city, we'll put Toontown. And the state has to be Florida. It will not allow you to do any other state. I do want to mention that. Oh, okay. And then, sorry. Okay, so this is good practice. So it has to be the abbreviation. All right, there we go. And then the postal code, we'll just put in some zip code. All right, so this is the basic information. Once that's in, you will hit the next, or click the next button. Now, again, this is another reason why it's important because what's going to happen, I do want to mention this, is once you submit this part, it's going to ask you about whether or not they receive an email notifying them that they've created an account. So again, that's Foundant's way of kind of verifying that it's a valid email address. So, but now we're going to put in the password. And so for the password, you can talk to the patient and ask them if they want to create one with you, and then they can go back in and change it later. So you'll just talk to them about what they want their password to be. For this one, I'll just put easy one. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. So here it's going to say you will be receiving emails from the system about your requests. And to ensure you receive the email from the system, an email was just generated to the email that was provided. So for when you're on the phone doing this, you can, they may or may not have received the email. If they already have an established email, ask them to check their email to see if they received it. If they're not able to do that, you can continue on without checking that. So for today, I'll just check this one and go to continue. All right, so this is the start of the LOI. And I want to make sure I mention that because remember, we have in the Foundant system, they have the application in two buckets. They have the LOI and they have the application, which is the financial assistance page, which is our piece, which is stage 2. So every single applicant is only able to submit their LOI. There will be no financial documents asked for during this time frame. So you can explain that to them as well. You don't have to get into the LOI piece, but you can just explain this is just their applicant profile and eligibility information. So now, and again, I would read this to the patient, letting them know what they're applying for, and then hit apply. For today's purposes, I'm going to submit as an FCS patient. The non-FCS patient will be done the same way. The only difference is the questions will bring you specifically to the patient treatment verification form, of which then you will be able to share with the patient that they can, if they can either email their patient treatment form to our email address, or if they have it already established at the time, then they can upload it to their application. However, you can't submit it once the application or once the LOI is officially submitted. It cannot be edited after the fact. So just discuss with the patient before you submit it if they want to upload the treatment form before you submit it, or if they want you to submit the application and then they just email to you. All right, so let's get started here with this application. So this is right away. You can see the contact information at the top, and then we're going to just get right into the questions. So everybody is going to be asked pre-eligibility questions. And this is basically what it is to kind of do a predetermination if they are eligible for our support. And so the questions are, again, be very specific and ask each question. These are the requirements. So I'm going to scroll down. Now, I do want to mention for this tutorial, you'll see that it's 2025. And the reason for that is we don't have the 2026 income numbers yet. They haven't come out. And technically they're applying right now in December 2025. So we are using the 2025 chart. However, when the new chart comes out, it will be updated. So the first question you're going to want to ask them is, are you a current Florida resident? And for today's purposes, I am going to collect all the correct answers so we can move forward. And I do want to say, if you go through the questions and they're not sure, and then they answer the question that doesn't allow them to be eligible, you can always go back and change it so they can continue on to the next part of the LOI. So I'm going to say yes here. Going to say yes here. Going to say yes here. I'm going to say yes here. And I'm going to say no here. So you'll see that this automatically brought me to the applicant profile. Had I answered one of these questions differently, it would have done this. I'll show you. That's it. It would have basically said you do not meet eligibility criteria. So then that's when you can just go back and you can change if they so desire. Okay, so now we're able to start the profile. And I'm going to put information in rather quickly so we don't go through every single, this could take a long time. So I kind of want to skim through most of it. Again, the date of birth is the project name. So the project name is unique to everybody. So I'm going to make up a birthday. I'm just going to use what is there now. For today, obviously you'll want to make sure that you click foundation staff or volunteer, and you'll put your name here. Okay, this is where you're going to ask for their proof of residency. At the time that you're doing the application, more than likely you won't be able to upload it for them. So this is something that they're going to have to probably email to us so we can upload it on the back end for them. But make sure you explain what documents are acceptable to confirm residency. And this is not a required question for that reason alone, because we want you to be able to submit the application even if that is not provided. So a county, we'll choose a county. Your language, ethnicity. I'm just clicking as we go through. I'm going to put female. So this question, though, I do want to say that we do have quite a few referral agencies, and we like to track them. So please ask them if they were referred by any of these organizations or physicians. And if not, choose other and then write in other. But this is important because we want to be able to report out to our funders where we're receiving our referrals from. So for today, I'm going to just put Department of Health. I'm going to say no here. I'm going to say no here. No, no, no. And alternate contacts. This is important because we will only speak to either the applicant or someone they list in their application, because this is confidential information. So if they have an alternate person they want you to, that they are allowing to us to talk to, please put that information into this box. So here is where that logic model comes into play. So this is where we're going to verify cancer treatment. So the questions you're going to ask them, well, the first question is going to be, are you being treated at a Florida Cancer Specialist Cancer Center? If they say no, that's when it goes to the non-FCS questions. If you say yes, it brings you to the FCS question. So we're going to do FCS today. And here you'll see it brings me to Florida Cancer Specialist patient. If I choose no, it changes to non-Florida Cancer Specialist patient. So I'll just show you what it looks like real quick. So here is where you'll be able to pull up the form. You can tell them where to get the form so they can have their physician fill it out. And then there is a note here that you cannot edit your application once it's submitted. So they'll have to email it back to us. So let's go back to the FCS questions. All right, so here we are. So you'll read this statement to them, okay, because this is important, and we want to make sure that they are complying with everything here. So the first thing is you'll want to know their full name, their date of birth, the last 4 digits of their social. So I'll go ahead and put this in. Oh. Okay, date of birth. I don't remember where I put. Oh boy, I did this. Make up a number. This part is extremely important. And what I want to mention is this can be done verbally over the phone. They can agree or disagree to this over the phone. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, and I'm going to tell you this. So you're not going to see this question yet. This is going to be on, this is an internal question that they don't see. You're not going to see it because you're applying as them with them on the phone. So I'm going to talk to you how to go. I'm going to share with you how to go back into the application and edit this piece. So what you'll do is you're going to have to read this word for word. This is the authorization for release of patient identifiable health information. And this is a section, with them agreeing to this is what allows us to obtain their treatment verification information, whether or not they're on active cancer treatment or within 90 days of the final treatment date. We cannot do that unless we have their initials in this section and they understand and agree to it. So you'll read through this, and you're doing it verbally. You'll read through this, and hopefully they're going to say, I agree, and then you'll type in their initials, Roadrunner, and you're good to go. The next section is general release in terms of acceptance. This is the same exact thing applies. You'll pull up this document here. This is a general release in terms of acceptance policy. You're going to pull this up, and you're going to have to read this to them. I know it's a lot, but it's important that they understand what they're agreeing to. So this is a document. You'll read through this, and once you're done, you'll go right back here to your tab, the LOI Scholarship tab here. And then once they agree, you'll type in their initials again. And then here you'll say, read through this part. Thank you for completing your applicant profile. You'll go through all of this. Again, this is important because you'll want to let them know that it would be a good idea for them to start collecting their bank information and income verification. So when they do hopefully get the email to submit their financials, that they'll be ready to go. So their application will be reviewed quicker. Remind them that at this time, you can submit their LOI here at the bottom here, but once you submit their LOI, they cannot go back in and edit it. So any documents that they need to upload to their application, so that would be a patient treatment form if they're non-FCS and their Florida residency documentation, they will have to email that to us, and then we can upload it on the back end. So usually at this point, if we're doing a phone application, it's just what they prefer. And so either way is perfectly fine. Just stress to them that it might take a little bit longer if they have to send to us, but we can do either or. And so you'll read through all of these important things to know. And then from here, I'm going to just, for today's purposes, I'm going to submit LOI. Submitted. Now what will happen is this person, Roadrunner, will get an email confirming that they have applied for support, and the email has very specific instructions on what will happen next. And so that part is done. So the next thing I want to show you, though, is I had talked a little bit, it might have been confusing, but that FCS compliance piece. So that is a very important piece in the application. And when they do it over the phone, we have to verbally confirm that we did that was not something that they did on their own. So in order to do that, what you'll need to do is to log out of Foundant and log back in as yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just give me 1 second here. Do it this way. So here I am. I'm going to log back in as myself. To log on. So you can see this is my dashboard. So this is an LOI submitted. I'm going to go here to the 4 here and click on that. And hopefully I see, oh, there's Roadrunner. Okay, great. So you can see Roadrunner, and bear with me real quick. I'm going to just make sure that I can. Okay, so you'll click on the project name, and then you'll go to requests, and you can see here the LOI was submitted. And you should be able to edit this document. The view, so go to view LOI. Now, you'll want to do this right away after you submit the LOI because that's how important it is. So you can go ahead and minimize these sections here. This is the part you want to go to, the Florida Cancer Specialist patient section. Here you'll see the name, authorization, and compliance. And here you'll see this question here. It's an internal question. FCS compliance verbal verification. The applicant verbally agreed to and acknowledged the FCS compliance statement during the application process. You're going to want to click this button, yes, because that's what you did. And scroll to the bottom, and then you can do LOI complete. And there you go. Now we know that that person signed and agreed to it in a verbal capacity. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. That concludes how to create an application. Thanks so much.